Randomized control trial. A randomized control trial has an experimental study design. This means that the researchers intervene and then look at what happens. In these experiments, participants are randomly assigned to groups, often called intervention and control groups, to either receive or not receive a nutritional compound, drug, or treatment. This process is known as randomization. The conduct of intervention studies such as a randomized control trial has several advantages. For example, conditions can be controlled, confounding can be minimalized by randomization, cause effect relations can be studied, and it is possible to evaluate the effects of specific compounds, foods, and diets. The main advantage of these studies is that they can establish whether nutrition or lifestyle causes a change in cancer risk. However, in nutrition and cancer research, these trials have also considerable limitations. Ethics. Only nutrients, foods, and diets that are hypothesized to have a protective effect on cancer occurrence and progression can be tested. It is not ethical to give one group of people a certain food that is thought to be harmful. Blinding of a researcher or a participant is not often possible in nutrition research. This can only be done for dietary supplements, which are not distinguishable from the placebo supplement. As the progression from an initial cancer cell to a full blown tumor, which we can diagnose, may take at least 20 to 30 years. Studying hard endpoints such as cancer occurrence in these trials is very challenging. Thus, for obvious reasons, we need other endpoints in these trials. These endpoints are usually intermediate biological markers, which are substances or processes that can objectively be measured in the human body and that are good predictors of increased cancer risk. For some diseases, such as cardiovascular disease, these early markers exist. So, when doing research on cardiovascular disease, researchers can use cholesterol level and blood pressure measurements as early markers of cardiovascular disease. However, in cancer research, we have not seen able to establish early markers yet. Also, these trials are limited by the fact that compliance in dietary interventions usually decreases the longer a trial continues. This may especially influence the results of the trial when participants who have to adhere to the intervention diet are less likely to adhere or comply than those in the control group who can adhere to their usual diet. For example, the timing of the intervention is crucial in nutrition cancer research. We have learned this from CARET and the ATBC trials, in which an intervention group received a high dose of beta carotene supplement while the control group received a placebo. Unfortunately, the result of this study was that lung cancer rates in the intervention group were increased compared to the control group, which was, of course, not what researchers expected. One explanation for the observed harmful effect of the beta carotene supplement may be that the study populations, which consisted of long term heavy smokers, may already have had undiagnosed lung tumors. Since it is never known whether undiagnosed tumor exists, it is very tricky to do an intervention study. Finally, the conduct of human dietary intervention studies is very labor intensive and expensive, as the conduct of these studies in nutrition and cancer research is seriously hampered by these and other limitations. Dietary recommendations are usually based on the results of observational studies. Thank you.